Alligations, Chapter 20. Alligation is called the tic-tac-toe math. It's called that because the grid that you set up looks like a tic-tac-toe board. This math is used when mixing two products together with different percents of the same active ingredient, like triamcinolone 1% and triamcinolone 10% to make a 5%. This will produce a strength that falls between the two original strengths. Remember these things: stir water equals 0, distilled water equals 0, and D10W equals 10%, D5W equals 5%. If you see this D and a number in the W behind it, the strength will be what that number is. If this was D2W, it would be 2%. Key points to remember. As I said before, I talked about the water and all that, meaning 0%. But solvents such as water, vanishing cream, white petroleum jelly, Aquaphor, Vaseline, all of these are considered to be 0%. All liquids are expressed in mLs, so you have to convert. So if you have a liter of something, you have to convert it to mLs. That's very important. Don't forget that. Solids are expressed in grams. Always start a number that begins with a decimal with a leading 0. For example, 0.89 instead of 0.89. You don't want to get that point or that decimal and be missing it and then be 89, because you could overdose someone. There are no negative numbers. So when you get to the part where you have to add and it gives you a negative number, you just use it as a positive. Okay? No negative numbers. Remember that. So the first step is to set up your grid. D equals the desired strength. This is, what are you trying to make? What percentage are you trying to make out of the two things that you have? The H is for the higher strength in the problem. After you've decided what is the desired strength, then you have to pick out your higher strength. And then, of course, the low is for your lower strength in the problem. And these go in the boxes like you see them. High goes in the top left, and L goes, or low goes into the bottom left. This must be set up correctly from the beginning, or your problem will be wrong from the start. Okay, so I have these color highlighted so that you can see what I'm talking about, and I hope that you can follow along with me. The second step, adding and subtracting. All right, you subtract H from D, which is high from desired, and it goes into the bottom right corner. This becomes your new low. And then you take your L from D, your low from the desired, going diagonally up to the top, and you get your new high. And then you add your new high and your new low together to get a total sum. You subtract the L from D and you get a new high. You subtract the H from D and get a new low. Even though you subtracted the H from the D, because it's across from the L in the program, in the grid, that is considered your new low, as well with the same thing as your new high. Very important step. Now you're on your third step, dividing and multiplying. Now you have your new high and you have your new low. So you're going to do this twice. One time for your new high, one time for your new low. You're going to take your new high, divided by the total that you got when you added those two together, your total sum, and then you're going to multiply that by the total you're trying to make. And that's going to give you a sum. You're going to do it twice. After you do this, you will have your answer to the problem. How much you would need for each part. How much of the high you would need and how much of the low you would need. But you do this for both parts, the new high and the new low. Now, we have an example. How much of a 20% cream should you add to 26 grams of a 1% cream to make 4% cream? This is the part one, the first and second steps together. So I looked at my problem and I see that I needed 4%. That's what I'm trying to make. So that is my desired, and it goes in the middle of the grid. So after I decide that 4 is my desired, then I find my high number percent and my low number percent. These numbers will always be percents. My high is 20, my low is 1. So when I subtract 20 from 4, I get 16, and that becomes my new low. And then I subtract 1 from 4, I get a -3. But remember, there's no negative numbers, so 3 goes in my grid. Then once I have that down, I take 3 and 16 and add those together, and I get 19. So this was your first and your second step. I set up my grid and I did my addition. Continuing on. Since now that I have my addition and I have my total sum, now I can figure out how much I need of each percent. I take my new high, which is 3, and I divide that by 19, and I multiply it by 26. Where did I get my 26 from? Because the 26 is the total amount of cream I'm trying to make. The total amount of 4% cream I'm trying to make. So once I do that, I get 4.1 grams of the 20% cream. And then I take my 16, which is my new low, and I divide it by my total sum, which is 19, and multiply that by my 26 grams, and I get 21.9 grams of the 1% cream. To check my problem, the sum should equal the total amount you're trying to make. So 41 grams, 4.1 grams, and 21.9 grams equals 26 grams. So now my problem is solved. So how much 20% cream should you add to 26 grams of a 1% cream to make 4% cream? You will need 4.1 grams of the 20% cream and 21.9 grams of the 1% cream, making a total of 26 grams of a 4% cream. Look at what the problem asks you. Which percent are you looking for? In the example, we were looking for both. It asks you how much 20% cream did you need to add to 26 grams of 1% cream to make a 4% cream. That's how you figure it out. So let's look at a problem set up a different way. If it gives you the total amount. Prepare 1 liter of a 32% solution using an 18% solution and a 40% solution. So what am I trying to make? 32. 32 is my desired. Now I can pick out my high and my low. 40 is my high and 18 is my low. So now I take 40 and subtract it by 32 and I get 8, making that my new low. And then I take 18 and divide it by 32 and I get 14, making that my new high. And then I add 14 and 8 together and get 22. That's the first and second part of my problem. The third and final part of my problem, I take 14, which is my new high, divided by 22, which is my total sum that I got when I added. And now I'm going to times it by 1,000. Now why am I timesing it by 1,000? Because 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. Remember, I told you had to convert. You can convert liters to milliliters by timesing the number by 1,000 or using your King Henry that you learned earlier in the math segment. So when I do 14 divided by 22 times 100, I get 6 336.4 mLs. And then when I do the same thing to my low, 8 divided by 22 times 1000, I get 363.6 mLs. So I need 636.4 mLs of the 4% and 363.6 mLs of the 18% to make 1,000 milliliters or 1 liter of 32% solution. If you have any questions, you can call me. Follow this grid step by step, and you will do the problems correctly. Remember, you're trying to create a percent that either doesn't exist or you don't have in stock. So that's when you would use this in the pharmacy. A person comes in with a prescription for a percent of a medication that we do not stock, whether it be cream or mLs, and we could take 2 of what we have and make what we need, as long as it falls in between the 2 strengths. Okay? Also, sometimes the problems come out a little different. It depends on the author who wrote the problem. Choose the answer that's closest to your answer. Sometimes they, after they add and subtract, they would do divide by, take the new low and divide by the total sum, and then they would round right there. Some people don't round right there, and some people do. They'll push equal and then they'll round, and then they'll times it by their total amount. That's just another way of doing the problem. Either way, you're still going to get the same solution. So just choose the answer that's closest to your problem. I hope I didn't confuse you when I said that. If I did, give me a call and I will straighten it out for you. I hope that you guys can understand this allegation PowerPoint. And if you have any questions, of course, again, you can call me. We will discuss this in lab. So hope to see you there.